Six signals fired across the entire market this morning. One stock survived. Every other name in the universe got cut before sunrise. And the one that made it through trades for less than 20 cents. Quick note before you go anywhere, because if you're new here, you should know exactly what you're watching. I'm not a trader. I've never run a fund or sat at a trading desk. I can't even add without a calculator. I wanted to find out though, can you build a system that finds market signals before the crowd does? So I asked Claude to build me that system, and Claude told me to call it BuzzPulse. Then I decided to run the whole thing in public on YouTube when I don't even know what I'm talking about. If that doesn't make you fall asleep, I share every signal, every result, and some days it works and some days it doesn't. That's my show, and also the reason for the very high number of subscribers. You're watching me operate a machine I trust in real time on a Friday, telling me to talk about a stock at the top of the list that you could buy 100 shares of for less than the price of a original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. Welcome to Invest AI Savvy, where AI powers smart investing. Welcome to Friday, May 29th, 2026. Here's what's going to make you fall asleep this morning. The system flagged exactly one name. No analyst covers it. The financial media is not writing about it. I called Wall Street to ask who follows this company, and Wall Street didn't call me back. What a surprise. And yet the chatter and conversation around it overnight went ballistic. So the question this morning is not just who is this company? The question is, why is this stock that almost nobody is supposed to care about suddenly the loudest thing in the room? We're going to talk about that and pull the thread out of my wool socks. First, the weather report. The market closed Thursday in record territory. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ both printed fresh all-time highs, and they did it while shrugging off two things that probably should not have been shrugged off. Inflation came in hot, the warmest reading in nearly 3 years. And there's a live geopolitical situation in the Strait of Hormuz with a tentative deal reported overnight that nobody has actually signed. Meanwhile, the fear gauge, the VIX, closed at about 15.75. That is very calm, relatively speaking. Arguably too calm. BuzzPulse reads this as a risk-on backdrop with no regime change, which is the polite way of saying the market is feeling braver than Eddie Murphy in the beginning of Trading Places. And Bitcoin is sitting in the low 70,000s, which matters more for today's story than you might expect. Now, quick housekeeping. This show is for educational purposes only. It's not investment advice. Please do your own research and talk to a licensed professional before you make any trades, unless you want to lose money with my BuzzPulse picks. The signal of the day is a company called Hyperscale Data, ticker GPUS. And yes, that ticker reads like GPUs, the same Blackwell and Vera Rubin chips everybody is fighting to buy in China, which tells you exactly how this company wants to be seen. It calls itself an AI data center company anchored by Bitcoin. It runs a data center campus in Michigan built for the high-powered NVIDIA chips that train AI models, and it holds roughly 700 Bitcoin on its balance sheet. That's the brochure, but here's the history, and the history is the real story. The company has had 4 different names. It used to be called Alt Alliance, and before that, BitNile, before that, Alt Global. Same chairman the entire way through, a gentleman named Todd Alt. And across every one of those names, it did one thing with remarkable consistency. It printed shares. It sold new stock into the open market over and over again to raise cash. The technical name for the machine it used is an at-the-market offering. Picture a faucet the company can open anytime it wants, turning its own stock into money a little at a time, straight into the market, dilution be damned. Now here's the part that matters for anybody who owned it. When a company sells new shares constantly, every share you already hold becomes worth a little less. This is called dilution. And the company diluted its shareholders so aggressively that a little over a year ago, it had to run a reverse split, taking 35 old shares and collapsing them into one, just to keep the price from falling off the bottom of the chart. And then it kept printing. It got authorization to issue billions of new shares. It set up an arrangement where an affiliate could convert preferred stock into common stock at a floor price of 10 cents. So follow the price with me. Sometime in the last year, this stock traded for almost $10 a share. On Thursday, it closed at about 18 cents. That's not a typo, from almost $10 to under 2 dimes. That is what a dilution machine does to a stock when you let it run at full speed. This is why GPUs barely missed being BuzzPulse pick of the day. And here's why the conversation lit up overnight. This week, the company did something it basically has never done in its entire history. It went the other direction. Two things happened in the same week. First, it announced a tender offer. It said it would spend up to $5 million to buy its own shares back at 21 cents apiece. And then 2 days later, it announced it was shutting off the faucet entirely. It terminated the at-the-market program. The selling machine switched off effective the 8th of June. The company's argument is clean. Management says the actual book value of the business, the cash plus the Bitcoin plus the assets, works out to be about 26 cents a share. The stock is trading well below that. So in their telling, the stock is simply too cheap and they're stepping in to prove it. That's the bull case. And I'm going to be honest with you about the other side because it's not so rosy. The other side is simple. This is the same management team that diluted the stock from $10 down to 18 cents. So when they turn around and say they're done selling shares and they're going to start buying instead, the entire question on the table, the thing every trader on the message boards is arguing about right now, comes down to one word: believe. Do you believe them? A $5 million buyback is small for a company this size. And the cynical read is that ending one financing program just means another one shows up later wearing a different hat. The deadline on that tender offer is June 8th, and a lot of people are treating that date as a test. With a selling machine switched off, June 8th becomes a clean read on real demand. Buyers stepping in says the market believes the turn. No buyers, even now, says the doubt runs deeper than dilution. So what does BuzzPulse actually have here? It has a real measurable surge of attention on a tiny stock at the exact moment that stock has a genuine, verifiable catalyst behind it. The system found the smoke, and this time the smoke is supposed to be real. Whether there is a fire underneath it or whether this is just one more chapter in a company that might have burned its shareholders before, I don't know. I'm watching it with you. The system surfaced it. The history says be careful. Both of those things are true at the same time, and that tension is exactly why it earns signal of the day. As for the watch list behind it, there's not one this morning. Every other candidate that built up enough momentum to get a second look got cut before it earned a slot. The quality gate held and nothing else got through. One name, no decoration. That is the honest list for a quiet Friday. And if you take one idea away from today, let it be this. When a company controls how many shares of itself exist, the share count is a story that the company is telling you. A stock printing faucet left open is a company quietly decreasing its own value. A faucet that closes paired with a buyback that opens is hyperscale data trying to change the story. The only thing you have to decide is whether the new story is true or whether it's the same old story with the price tag change. That one question, who controls the share count and what are they doing with it, will protect you in more penny stocks than any chart pattern ever will. So that's where we stand this Friday. One signal, an 18-cent question wrapped inside a company that might have burned people before, suddenly doing something that it has never done. I will be watching that June 8th deadline, and I'll be with you here on Monday morning in this exact spot. I'm Ken Carpenter. This is Invest AI Savvy, and that's the way it is.